You hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/inkdependence keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and today we're going to take a dip into this fun ink by Vinta. This is made in the Philippines exclusively for Vanness Pens, this particular Vinta ink. I've only used 2 or 3 Vintas, but I've actually liked the ones I've used, so this is a fun thing to get into. I'm not sure I've actually reviewed any, so this might be a first. It is in the Kislap series, which is sparkly, and this is very sparkly. You'll also notice the name of the ink isn't on here. This is just the name of a series, and then you have this color swatch right there, which gives you some hint of what this ink is going to look like. It's kind of bluish, greenish, and it's got shimmer, but this doesn't really give you the whole story. So it says this is a 30 ml bottle, it is 1 ounce, and it is for fountain pen use. This bottle was given to me for review by Lisa Vanness, so thank you very much, Lisa. This has been fun to check out. Okay, let's see what's in here. This is the bottle. It's a nice little glass bottle, as it said, 1 ounce fountain pen use, and I have been using it in a fountain pen, and it has worked really well. So these little glass bottles I think are pretty nice, and actually you can see some of the shimmer is down here underneath the lip, which I hadn't noticed until literally just now. But even just looking at this through the bottle, you can see the intense shimmeriness of this ink. This ink is all about the shimmer. If you don't like shimmer, this isn't going to be your video, but hey, watch it all the way to the end for YouTube analytics. So there it is. You can actually see the shimmer in there. You can see it's like sort of a, I don't know, greenish, silverish, maybe a little bit of blue shimmer. It's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's also just like you can see the shimmer on the rim of this bottle and on the threads. The shimmer is indefatigable. Let's put that aside and look at what it looks like on some paper. This is my normal Rhodia 80 grams per square meter, and as you can see, this is actually very difficult to read here. It's honestly easier to read in person just because my lighting is hitting this in such a way that is really activating this ton of shimmer that you have in this ink. So, man, look at it go. So here, where I put down a whole big swatch of it, enough that it actually like buckled the paper. So quite a lot. I also didn't flatten this out or anything. You can probably flatten it out, put a heavy book on top of it, you'd be okay. So you have these 2 big deposits of shimmery shimmers, and then you have a little bit of like weird shading here, and you got this interesting color going on. There's like some peach and some blue and some, I don't know what color this is supposed to be. It's going to go in the shimmer section of my color decks because then I don't have to worry about it. Now, will this shimmer come up a little bit on your fingers? I don't know. Let's see. This has been dry for a while. Yup. There is so much shimmer in here. If you put down this much shimmer, it's going to come away, which is okay. It's not glitter. It's just little teeny tiny shimmery bits. And I don't hate that. I ain't mad about it. All right, so this is my usual 80 grams per square meter Rhodia, and I liked this ink the least on this paper. It's not great on this paper, quite frankly, because the flow is quite thin. So the ink here it's really just a shimmer vehicle. Like this shimmer you see on the bottom and all throughout this, that's what you want on your page for this ink. Like the color is tertiary, maybe it's not even secondary. It's all about the shimmer in this thing. As you can see, there's quite a lot of shimmer here. You will get a little bit of inconsistency sometimes, and this down here is more or less, well, it's not particularly shimmery, this bottom line. These lines are so shimmery that it's hard to read on camera. But down here, you actually get the color you're writing with, which is kind of interesting. But the reason I say that it's thin and that's a problem for Rhodia is that you see, like with this G right here, or the C and such, sometimes when you're writing with a good nib on smooth paper with a thin ink that's just a carrier for the shimmer, what happens is the ink doesn't actually stop in every part of the line. So it's not being soaked into the paper because this has quite a coating on it. And so it's just kind of skating along the top. And so it put down a little bit there where I pressed down perhaps. And then here where I wasn't pressing down, it was just like, nah, I don't need to be here. And then it followed it all the other end of the C. And it does that with some of the other letters too, like the E right here is just barely visible. And that's because there wasn't enough ink laid down there for the shimmer to stop. And so the shimmer followed the ink along as I'm drawing the letter with my nib. And so you get a little bit of a skipping. Now, the reason I say that's bad because of Rhodia is because of that coating on the paper. It makes it great for things not bleeding through, but it also makes it kind of bad for these thin inks that need to have some, they're not getting any purchase, right? And that's a little bit of a problem here. So a bit thin on the flow. Performance, very minor bleed on my 20-pound copy paper. That's this one. This is 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper from Staples, and I think it was actually maybe best on this paper, maybe second best. Anyway, it's pretty darn good on this paper. You get plenty of shimmer. Let's see if the shimmer moves. Shimmer actually not moving on this one so much, so it can soak in a little bit, and I think it took some of that super fine shimmer with it. And you have very, very little bleed through, just like little bits. And this paper, everything bleeds through this paper. It's crap paper. It's no good. But it does soak up the ink fast enough that you do get the ink to go into the paper. You get a little bit of the ink color. You get a good amount of shimmer. And you have barely any spread or feather or bleed. Just a tiny bit of bleed, like our feather right here on this eye. I can see some. That's about it. That's nothing to worry about. All right. We'll look at it on a couple more papers. In fact, 3-4 more papers here in just a little bit. Alrighty, I had this in my, and actually do still have it in my TWSBI Go, which, look, TWSBI pens have this weird ability to handle shimmer super well. I don't know what it is, but I have not had a TWSBI pen fail me when it comes to shimmer. So you can actually see here in this ink tank just the way that shimmer works. Now, I haven't handled this pen in, I don't know, 20 minutes because I set it down and then I was just like getting stuff out so I could do this review. And you can see a huge amount of shimmer in the feed there. It's doing just fine. There's some shimmer up here on top of the nib. There's shimmer all the way around here. There's shimmer in the ink tank. It kind of stays in solution or it gets into solution real quick. So yeah, I'm not worried about this at all. And I haven't had any problems with this. I bet it'll start right up. Yeah, no problems at all. So, TWSBI pens. Crazy good at shimmer. I don't know why, but this has been quite good. Now this nib is a little bit on the smooth side. If I had like I don't know, a nib with some more feedback or something, maybe I wouldn't be having this, but I don't know. I don't want to have a scratchy, I'm not gonna use a scratchy nib. Where's the fun in that? Okay. So anything else to say? No, that's pretty good. All right, so let's do our water test, look at our chromatography, and then look at it on a bunch of different papers, look at a couple of inks that are not at all like it, but I kind of thought they would be. All right, cool. Let's get this out here. Now, as I mentioned, I recently had a coffee-related disaster, so I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with the water here. I'm just going to let it sit for a sec, because what happened was I spilled my coffee all over my desk this way, and it went over the top of a couple of reviews and obliterated them. And I was like, oh God, oh no, what do I do? And I dithered around, and it took me way too long to get the water off of here. So let's like, whoa, no, don't get into my writing sample. Stay away. Okay. Good. I'm going to blot. All right. And is this ink water resistant? It is super duper not. This is maybe the least water resistant. There doesn't even really seem to be anything on this paper towel. Like even that just doesn't really. Does it get any shimmer? Nope. I don't know. Nothing. All right. Right in the garbage with that one. But here. Does the shimmer stick around? No. Did the color stick around? Nuh-uh. This is not an ink you want to get anywhere near water, because it will just wash it right away. You have a little bit of pink left? That's kind of neat. All right. Here is the chromatography for this ink, and it is real interesting chromatography. So, as you can see, nothing left over at the point of origin except for a line of silvery kind of bluish shimmer. Right there. That's it. And you have this little pink bit, and that's what you saw left over after they hit it with the water, and then fluorescent green yellow, and then super light blue. So I'm guessing this ink kind of counts as a blue, because that's all that's really going there for color, but it, like you can see, doesn't leave much behind back here. All right. So a few more papers. So this is a card that is made by, oh shoot, I've forgotten who makes this card. I'll put it up here because I'm very smart. But here it is on this little word card situation, or ink card. This is what these look like, ink collection cards. And I like these. I like these pretty well. They're very neat little papers. Not as thin as a Tomoe River, but they've got good resistance, and they pick up ink really well. And I think that looks pretty darn nice. Like, it did real well on this paper. Look at this writing over here. I dig it. All right. Then we have it on my Tomoe River ink journal. And that is right here. One of my newer ones. I've only had this a little bit, but, you know, that's the way it goes. There it is. It did okay on Tomoe River. You can read it. It's definitely there. It did better here than it did on Rhodia. I don't know why, but it seems to have done better here. It's kind of the way it goes. Different papers react differently to inks. This is wheat straw paper in my currently inked Inky Fingers notebook. Let's find the right place. There it is. And it did real well on here, too. This might be the best. I said the copy paper might be best, but I think the wheat straw actually did a really good job of picking up both shimmer and color, which is kind of nice, because otherwise you just really don't know what color this thing is going to be. Like, it's total mystery. It looks good there. All right. And one bonus one. Somebody asked on a live stream how this would look on Cosmo Airlight, and the answer is that it looks pretty good. It wasn't super pleasant to write on. This is Cosmo Airlight 115. It's 115 grams per square meter, I believe is what that is, which is a very thick paper. And you can see actually that some of the I just took my finger and went like this because I wanted to see if I could move that shimmer. Look at it there. It just piled up on top of this paper, which is nicely coated. These two lines up here were done with a pretty big glass dip pen, and while they look awesome, I think that's a cool look. It wasn't pleasant to write on because the paper is so thick and cardstocky. Now here, of course, I wrote it with my TWSBI Go, and it came out just fine. Didn't get a ton of shimmer in that for some reason. I don't really know why. I mean, it's there. You can definitely see that there's shimmer in there, but it's not as heavy as these up here. I don't know. Different papers and inks and stuff. It's always an interesting experiment. But for this heavy stuff, I go with that dip pen. In fact, I think this ink works super well with a dip pen, especially like a glass dip pen. I was using one of these. This is by Chemi's Labo. It's a Japanese dip pen, and this is handmade, and it's pretty darn good. It really soaks up the ink into these grooves, and you get this kind of result, which is just heckin' lots of sheen. Okay, so let's look at some couple of color comparisons. Here it is on my color ring card, which in person looks more like this, but under the lights and on the camera, shazam! All kinds of shimmer, of course. And here we have it in a couple of things. I have a medium glass dip nib pen right here, which is that one I just showed, and then here it is from the Go. Both of them nice and shimmery, good color, interesting stuff. And then I looked through my ink collection, and I don't have anything that's this color. I'm sure there are a couple of inks that are kind of like this, but I don't have any of them. So I was like, well, maybe it looks a little bit like 123. It's like a real pale ink. No, it's not. I remembered 123 as being a very light multi-chromer, and this is indeed a light multi-chrome ink with purple and green and all kinds of stuff going on, but it's nowhere near as light as Vinta Sodalite. And then I thought, I don't know, what about Troublemaker? So this is Troublemaker Petrichor, which is a fun ink, but also much darker. It's that's as close as I can get to Sodalite. It's just a heck of a lot darker. There's way more ink in this ink, and this is really a vehicle for shimmer, and I think that's pretty sweet. So, is this an ink that you're going to use all the time? No, probably not. But is it an ink that's going to add a huge amount of punch when you want it? Yup. Especially if you use something like a larger dip pen, because I think that'll go real well on some cards or something like that. Just don't put on the address because we'll wash completely off. So find this only at Vanness Pens. Link in the description. Tell them I sent you. This goes for $14.99 for this bottle, or you can get a 4 ml sample for $3, $3.10. And I think either way is a good way to go because this is pretty cool. So give it a try. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down there, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace out.